Let's get right into it. Number 7. The Viking Kingdom under a parking lot. Picture this. You're in Norway, pulling into a parking spot, grabbing your shopping bags. You have no clue you just parked on top of an ancient Viking king's dining room. That's exactly what went down when scientists aimed their ground radar at what looked like just another boring parking lot. They used this thing called ground-penetrating radar. Think of it like an X-ray machine for dirt. They found massive longhouses buried right under the asphalt, and we're not talking about your average Viking shacks. These were the mansions of the Viking world, the kind of places where kings threw feasts and planned their next raid on England. They also found burial mounds everywhere. Rich Vikings didn't just die. They got their own personal hill. Imagine being so loaded that death meant getting your own mountain. It's like having a penthouse, except it's made of dirt and you're very dead inside it. Then they found this mysterious ceremonial hall. Picture a Viking community center, but instead of yoga classes and book clubs, they're doing ritual sacrifices and sharpening battle axes. This is where Vikings went to party with their gods. And by party, I mean sacrifice animals and possibly people. So yeah, people complained about parking fees while standing on top of a lost civilization. They honked their horns over traffic, while Viking ghosts probably laughed at them from below. Number 6. The city that Drought revealed. Back in 2022, in Iraq, the worst drought in decades happened. Rivers drying up, crops dying. Then suddenly, an entire ancient city rises from the mud, like something out of a horror movie. This was Zakiku, a 3,400-year-old Bronze Age metropolis that spent decades underwater. The drought that terrified farmers became an archaeologist's dream. As water levels in the Mosul Reservoir dropped to scary lows, history literally surfaced. The same water that hid it also preserved it perfectly, like nature's own time capsule. Archaeologists found a palace with walls thicker than a car is wide. Whoever ruled here wasn't playing games. These walls could stop an army. But then they found something that made everyone lose their minds. Over 100 clay tablets covered in ancient writing. These weren't shopping lists. These were the text messages of the Bronze Age. Trade deals that shaped empires. Harvest reports that fed thousands. Even breaking news about an earthquake that shook the city thousands of years ago. The archaeologists had to work like their lives depended on it. They knew the water would rise again. Rain was coming. Snow was falling. They raced against nature itself and documented everything. This city was the New York of its time, a massive trading hub where merchants from across the ancient world came to make deals. Ships from distant lands docked here. Fortunes were made and lost. Then water swallowed it whole, and everyone forgot it existed. Number 5. The Mayan megacity hidden by jungle for 2,000 years. Scientists just found a Mayan city so massive it breaks your brain. This place was twice the size of medieval England, and it's been hiding under jungle for 2,000 years. They found it by basically giving the jungle a laser haircut. Using something called LiDAR, they shot millions of laser beams from planes. These lasers digitally strip away every tree, every plant, every leaf. What's left is the naked truth of what's underneath. What they found shocked everyone. 60,000 buildings that nobody knew existed. Not 60, not 600, 60,000. These weren't mud huts either. They found pyramids so covered in jungle they looked like regular hills. Ancient skyscrapers disguised as mountains. You could hike over them and never know you just climbed a pyramid. Here's what melts your mind. The Mayans built this without wheels, without horses, without metal tools, without any of the stuff we think you need to build a city. Imagine building something twice the size of medieval England using only stone tools and human muscle. They built highways raised above the swamps, not dirt paths. Actual elevated roads connecting the entire megacity. Their water system could handle the worst tropical storms. Canals, reservoirs, and dikes all working together like a giant machine. The whole place bristled with defensive walls and fortresses. These weren't peaceful farmers. These were people ready for war every single day. Watchtowers everywhere. Walls thick enough to stop any army. They built for war because war was always coming. Scientists used to think maybe 5 million Mayans lived here. Now they're saying it was more like 15 million. Number 4. The Egyptian workers' city lost in the desert. Picture walking through the Egyptian desert. Sand everywhere. Heat crushing you. You trip over what looks like an old brick, but this brick is the tip of an iceberg. An entire lost city sleeping under the sand for 3,400 years. This actually happened near Luxor. Archaeologists found what they're calling the Lost Golden City. This was ancient Egypt's version of Detroit, a massive industrial city built to house thousands of workers who kept the empire running. The preservation is scary good, like someone hit pause on ancient Egypt and just walked away. They found bakeries with bread still sitting there. Not crumbs, actual loaves of 3,400-year-old bread. Houses with walls standing 2 stories tall. Workshops frozen mid-production. In one room, they found 2 cows just lying there, dead for millennia, but still there. Nobody knows why these cows got the VIP treatment. Were they sacred? Were they dinner? Were they pets? But someone thought these cows deserved to be buried in a house. They found jewelry that sparkled like new. Lucky beetle charms people wore for protection. Pottery with King Tut's name stamped on it. The boy king himself used stuff made in this city. Workers here crafted jewelry for pharaohs, made statues of gods. Some workshops still had half-finished statues, like everyone just vanished during their lunch break. Other archaeologists searched for this place for years, decades of looking and finding nothing. It was right there, under their feet the whole time. They probably ate lunch sitting on top of it, set up their tents over ancient treasures. One lucky stumble revealed what years of searching missed. Number 3. The lost Inca Administrative Center in the clouds. In 2021, drones spotted something weird poking through mountain mist. At first, researchers thought their equipment was glitching, showing buildings where buildings couldn't exist. They just found Huata, a massive Inca complex sitting 4,000 meters up in the sky. That's higher than where some planes fly. That's where oxygen gets thin and your brain starts doing weird things. And the Inca built a government complex there. This wasn't some random ruins. This was the Inca Pentagon, a massive administrative center where the empire's brain trust worked. Platforms for ceremonies, elite housing for the big shots, all perched on cliff edges because apparently regular offices weren't dramatic enough. Government officials literally worked in the clouds. One wrong step meant a very, very long fall. Imagine doing your taxes while teetering on a cliff edge. The whole complex catches sunlight at specific angles, platforms positioned so perfectly they light up at exact times of year, like a giant sundial made of buildings. The stonework is so precise you can't slip paper between blocks. No mortar, just stones cut so perfectly they lock together like a 3D puzzle. Remember, they built this where most people can barely breathe. No power tools, no cranes, no modern anything. We only found it because drones can finally fly high enough to peek through the clouds. For centuries, it sat there, hidden in mist, while people walked below having no idea. Number 2. The Bronze Age Metropolis under Greek fields. A farmer in Greece was plowing his field. Just another boring Tuesday, except he was walking on top of an entire lost city. Every step he took was on ancient streets. Every seed he planted was in ancient soil. In 2022, scientists found Tanea hiding under farmland. A massive city lost for 3,000 years. Legend says prisoners from the Trojan War built it. They lost history's most famous war and were dragged to Greece as slaves. But then, they somehow built a metropolis that lasted for centuries. Scientists used magnetic imaging to X-ray the ground, like giving Earth an MRI scan. They found an entire city down there. Roads laid out in perfect grids, buildings lined up neat as soldiers, public spaces where thousands gathered, all sitting under some farmer's wheat field. The people of Tanea were loaded, so rich they minted their own money. Their coins were accepted everywhere. That's like your local town printing dollars and Walmart accepting them. They had that kind of power. But here's the mystery that keeps archaeologists up at night. They all just vanished. Other Greek cities evolved into modern ones. Athens is still Athens. Sparta left ruins, but Tanea is gone. An entire city of thousands just ghosted history. No war, no disaster. They just stopped existing. Number 1. The Nabataean desert metropolis beyond Petra. In 2016, satellites spotted something weird in Saudi Arabia's desert. Hegra, a massive city carved straight into sandstone cliffs. While everyone obsessed over Petra, its secret sister city sat there, ignored for centuries. The Nabataeans who built this were the Amazon of ancient times. They controlled trade routes through the harshest desert on Earth. Spices, incense, silk, all flowed through their hands. They got stupid rich being the middlemen of the ancient world. They carved 111 massive tombs into solid rock, because regular graves weren't fancy enough. Each tomb tried to outdo the last one. Some are 4 stories tall. Imagine being so rich that your grave needs an elevator. These people were water wizards. They farmed in a desert that kills. They carved hundreds of wells straight through solid rock, and their water collection system grabbed every drop of rain and stored it for the dry years. Satellites revealed the city's true scale. What looked like random rocks from the ground turned out to be a planned metropolis from space. Streets, neighborhoods, industrial areas, all laid out with purpose, like finding out your quiet neighbor secretly owns a mansion. The city mixed every culture like an ancient melting pot. Egyptian falcons next to Greek columns next to Roman wreaths. They hired artists from every corner of the known world. It's like they went shopping at history's mall and bought one of everything, the ultimate flex of the ancient world. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.